My friend, I want you to imagine something with me right now. Imagine that your life is like a house, and this house has many rooms. Some rooms are bright, full of light, full of air and possibility. Other rooms are dark, heavy, filled with dust and shadows. These dark rooms are not because you are weak or unlucky, but because of one thing, your mindset. Yes, the way you think, the way you see yourself, the way you see the world. Many people believe that the world decides their future, but I want to tell you a secret. The world is only a mirror. It shows you back what you already carry inside. If your mind is trapped in fear, the world will look frightening. If your mind is full of possibility, the world will open its doors. That is why the most powerful change you can ever make is not outside, but inside. The moment you change your mindset, your life begins to transform. I know you may have heard phrases like this before. Maybe you have even nodded and agreed, but inside, you still feel stuck. You wake up every day with the same worries. You tell yourself stories like, I cannot do this, I am not smart enough, I am unlucky, or people like me never succeed. And so, day by day, you live inside the walls of your own thoughts. But today, I want to walk with you into a different room, a brighter room. And I want to show you how even the smallest shift in your mindset can open doors you never imagined. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who always believed that life was unfair. Every time something bad happened, he would say, "See, I told you, this is my destiny." When he lost a job, he told himself, "I was never meant to be successful." A relationship ended. He whispered, "I am not worthy of love." Even when good opportunities came his way, he was afraid to try, because in his heart, he believed he would fail. His life was like a prison, but the prison had no real walls. It was only built from his own thoughts. One day, he met a mentor, an older man who looked into his eyes and asked, "Why do you think you were born to suffer?" The young man shrugged, "Because that's what life has always shown me." The mentor smiled and said, "No, my friend. Life did not show you that. Your mind did. Life only gave you the mirror." This moment was small, almost invisible, but it planted a seed. For the first time, the young man questioned his belief. Could it be true? Could it be that the problem was not the world, but the way he saw the world? That small question began to grow inside him like a tiny flame. And that flame was the beginning of his freedom. Now, I want you to stop for a moment and think about your own life. How many times have you told yourself a story that closed the door before you even knocked? How many times have you said, "This is impossible," without ever trying? You see, the voice in your head can be your greatest enemy or your greatest friend. The difference is mindset. If your mindset is negative, that voice will always tell you to give up, to fear, to doubt. If your mindset is positive, that voice will encourage you, it will push you, it will remind you that you can rise even when life is hard. The first step to changing your mindset is awareness. Most people live like they are asleep, listening to the same negative thoughts every day without even noticing. But once you become aware, you can begin to challenge those thoughts. For example, when the thought comes, "I cannot do this," stop and ask, "Is that true? Or is that just fear speaking?" You will be surprised how many times the truth is different from the thought. You may discover that you are capable, that you can try, that you can learn. Every time you challenge a negative thought, you take away its power. I remember a story of a woman who was terrified of speaking in public. For years, she avoided every situation where she might have to talk in front of others. Her career suffered. Her confidence was low, and she believed that this fear would follow her forever. One day, she decided to try a small experiment. Instead of saying, "I cannot speak in public," she told herself, "I am learning to speak in public." That one sentence changed everything. She still felt fear, but now she gave herself permission to grow. Over time, she practiced. First, her hands shook and her voice trembled, but she kept going. Little by little, her fear lost its power, and her confidence grew. Eventually, she became a powerful speaker. What changed first was not her skill, but her mindset. She stopped saying, "I cannot," and started saying, "I am learning. This is what I want for you too." I want you to notice the words you speak to yourself, because every word plants a seed in your mind. Negative words grow weeds, positive words grow flowers. If you want a beautiful garden, you must choose the right seeds. This is not magic. This is mindset. Now, let me take you deeper. Imagine your life as a river. The water flows where the riverbed guides it. If the riverbed is narrow, the water is trapped. If the riverbed is wide, the water flows freely. Your mindset is like that riverbed. If you believe you are small, your life will stay narrow. If you believe you are capable, your life will expand. Changing your mindset is like reshaping the riverbed so that more water can flow. It takes time, it takes effort, but it is possible. I want to share another story, one that shows the power of mindset in a very real way. There was a man who worked as a janitor in a school. Every day, he cleaned floors, emptied trash, and felt invisible. He thought his life would never change, that he was stuck forever. Oh, but one day, he decided to listen to an audiobook while he worked a book about positive thinking. At first, he laughed at it. He thought, "This is nonsense." Something inside him was curious, so he kept listening. Day after day, he heard words like, "You are capable, you can learn, your life can change." Slowly, these words began to replace his old thoughts. Instead of saying, "I am just a janitor," he started saying, "I am a person who can grow." He saved money, studied at night, and years later, he became the principal of that same school. What changed? Not the world around him, not his luck, but his mindset. He saw himself differently, and so he acted differently. And so his life changed, my friend. You may not see yourself as a janitor, or a speaker, or a young man in pain, but I want you to see yourself as someone with the same power. You have the ability to change the story in your head, and when you change that story, you change your life. And so, my friend, when I told you that your story can change, I meant it with all my heart. Because the truth is, once you begin to shift the way you see yourself, the world around you slowly begins to shift as well. It does not happen in one night. It does not happen in 1 week, but little by little, like the rising of the sun. Light begins to enter where once there was only darkness. But here is the thing most people never talk about: the journey of changing. Your mindset is not always easy. At first, it feels exciting. You hear new words, you feel inspired, and you start to dream again. But very soon, resistance arrives. Old habits pull you back. Old voices whisper in your head, "See, you will never change. This is who you are. You are wasting your time." And if you are not careful, those voices will drag you back into the same prison you were trying to escape. That is why part 2 of this journey is about struggle. Not the kind of struggle where life beats you down, but the kind of struggle where you fight your old self to give birth to your new self. Think of it like this. Your old mindset has lived inside you for many years. It is like an old tenant who has made a home in your head. That tenant does not want to leave easily. It will fight, it will argue, it will try to convince you to stay the same. And you, my friend, must learn to stand firm. Every time the old thought comes, you replace it with a new thought. Every time fear rises, you answer it with courage. Every time doubt whispers, you respond with faith. No, this is not about pretending that struggle doesn't exist. It is about deciding that struggle will not defeat you. Let me tell you about James, a man I once knew. James grew up in poverty. His parents struggled. Opportunities were rare, and by the time he was 20, he believed his life was already decided. He thought he would work the same hard jobs, earn little, and die unnoticed. One day, he attended a workshop where the speaker said, "Your circumstances do not decide your future. Your mindset does." At first, James was angry. He thought, "This man does not know my life, my pain, my history." Something inside him refused to let go of those words. That night, James could not sleep. He kept hearing the sentence, "Your circumstances do not decide your future. Your mindset does." The next morning, when James went to his job, he decided to test this idea. Instead of complaining, he asked himself, "What can I learn here? How can this job teach me something that will help my future?" Suddenly, his eyes opened. He noticed skills he was learning without realizing it. He noticed chances to practice discipline, chances to build patience, chances to grow. Day by day, his attitude changed. Did life suddenly become easy? No, but slowly, James rose. He saved money, took courses, and years later, he built his own business. And he always said, "The hardest part was not changing my job. The hardest part was changing my mind. This is the reality. The battle is not outside. The battle is inside. Okay. And once you win the inside battle, the outside world begins to bend. Now, I must be honest with you. There will be days when you feel tired, when you feel like giving up, when you ask yourself, why am I even trying? On those days, you need to remember one thing. Every time you choose a positive thought over a negative one, you are training. Your mind like a muscle. Muscles grow with repetition, not with one-time effort. The same is true with mindset. You may not see the results immediately, but with time, the growth will be undeniable. Do you know the story of the bamboo tree? When you plant a bamboo seed, nothing happens for the first year. Nothing happens the second year. Nothing happens the third year. People may laugh at you. They may say, "Why are you wasting your time watering the ground?" But in the fifth year, something incredible happens. The bamboo suddenly shoots up, growing more than 80 feet in just 6 weeks. Did it really grow in 6 weeks? It was growing underground the entire time, building roots so strong that it could support its massive height. Your mindset is like that bamboo tree. First, you may not see results. You may think nothing is happening. But in reality, your roots are growing stronger. And when the time comes, you will rise higher than you ever imagined, my friend. If you want to change your mindset, you must trust the process. You must understand that even when you don't see progress, progress is happening. Every time you stop a negative thought, you are building roots. Every time you choose to believe in yourself, you are building roots. Every time you try again, after failure, you are building roots. And one day, just like the bamboo, you will rise suddenly, and the world will look at you with surprise. But you will know it was not sudden. It was years of silent growth. And let me tell you something important. Your environment matters. You cannot plant roses in toxic soil and expect them to bloom. The same is true for your mind. If you are always surrounded by negativity, by people who tell you you can't, then your growth will be slower. That is why you must protect your environment. Listen to positive voices, read uplifting stories, spend time with people who believe in you. You may not always have full control over your surroundings, but you can control what you feed your mind. Feed it strength, not weakness. Feed it courage, not fear. Feed it faith, not doubt. I once read about a man who was sentenced to prison for a crime he did not commit. He was behind bars for more than 10 years. Most people in that situation lost hope, but not him. Every day, he told himself, "This is not the end of my story. One day, the truth will come out. One day, I will be free." He read books, he exercised, he prepared himself for the life he wanted to live outside. After many years, the truth did come out, and he was released. When reporters asked him how he survived, he said, "My body was in prison, but my mind was free. They could lock me up, but they could not lock up my mindset." That, my friend, is the power you carry inside you too. Changing your mindset is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing how you respond to reality. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you interpret it. You can see a problem as the end, or you can see it as a lesson. You can see failure as proof of weakness, or as a step toward strength. You can see rejection as humiliation, or as redirection. The choice is always yours, and the choice is always mindset. This is the part where everything you have been planting, watering, and protecting begins to bloom. This is the part where you start to see with your own eyes that the work you did inside your mind is creating results in the world outside. But let me remind you, transformation is not a single moment. It is a series of choices. It is not lightning that strikes once and changes everything. It is the sunrise that rises every morning, slowly, faithfully, until one day you realize that the night is gone. I want you to imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror. In the past, when you looked at this mirror, maybe you saw someone weak, someone afraid, someone who doubted. But now, after the journey you have walked, you begin to see someone different. You begin to see strength in your eyes, hope in your smile, courage in your posture. You begin to see a person who has fought battles no one else knows about and has won. This, my friend, is transformation. Not becoming someone else, but finally becoming who you were meant to be all along. Let me tell you the story of Alina. For most of her life, she lived in fear. She feared speaking, she feared failure, she feared judgment. Her dream was to become a writer, but she never shared her words with anyone. She told herself, I am not good enough. Nobody will care about my writing. I will embarrass myself. For years, she carried her stories inside her, like birds trapped in a cage. But then, one day, she heard something that changed her forever. A teacher told her, the words you keep inside you are not yours alone. They belong to the world. And if you die with them still inside, the world will lose a gift it was meant to have. That sentence struck her heart like lightning. That night, for the first time, she wrote a small poem and shared it online. She was terrified. She thought people would laugh, but instead, people thanked her. They said her words touched their hearts. That one moment of courage opened the door to many more. Today, Alina is a celebrated author. What changed? Not her talent. She had always been talented. What changed was her mindset. She no longer believed her words were worthless. She believed they had value, and so she gave them to the world. And the world responded. This is what I want you to understand. Transformation is not about becoming someone else. It is about removing the lies that kept you small and allowing your true self to shine. Inside you, there is greatness. Inside you, there is power. Inside you, there are dreams that are not accidents. They were given to you for a reason. But to live them, you must protect your mindset, because mindset is the doorway now. Transformation also requires something many people forget: consistency. It is not enough to have one positive thought today and another tomorrow. You must make it your lifestyle. Just like you brush your teeth every morning, you must train your mind every day. Read words that inspire you. Speak words that build you. Spend time with people who uplift you. Guard your thoughts the way a king guards his castle. Because the world will always try to plant weeds in your garden, and you must be ready to pull them out before they grow. Think of Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players in history. People often think he was born talented, that success came easily. But do you know the truth? In high school, he was rejected from the varsity basketball team. The coach said he was not good enough. Many people would have quit, but Michael refused. He used that rejection as fuel. He practiced every day, hours and hours, until his skills became undeniable. He said later, "I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His mindset turned rejection into motivation. That mindset made him unstoppable. My friend, if you want your life to transform, you must also learn to see rejection as redirection, failure as feedback, and obstacles as opportunities. The same roadblocks that stop one person can launch another person higher. The difference is not the roadblock. The difference is the mindset. And let me tell you another truth. Transformation is not only about personal success. It is also about impact. When you change your mindset, you do not just change your own life, you change the lives of everyone around you. Your family feels it. Your friends see it. Strangers notice it. You become a light in a world that is often dark. And that light is contagious. One person with a strong, positive mindset can inspire hundreds, even thousands, to believe in themselves. You may not even realize it, but every time you rise, you give others permission to rise to dot. Do you remember the story I told you earlier about the janitor who became a principal? Years later, when he looked back, he said the most beautiful part of his journey was not the title, not the office, not the respect. The most beautiful part was when his students told him, "Because of you, I believe I can do more with my life." That is the true power of changing your mindset. It multiplies. It spreads. It creates ripples that keep moving long after you are gone. So here we are at the heart of this journey. Part 1 was about opening your eyes to the possibility of change. Part 2 was about fighting the inner battles that try to hold you back. And Part 3, my friend, is about rising into the fullness of who you can be. It is about living boldly, walking with courage, and never again letting small thoughts control a big life. I want you to imagine yourself 10 years from now. Imagine you kept living with your old mindset, the doubts, the fears, the excuses. What would your life look like? It's probably the same as it is now, maybe worse. Now, imagine yourself 10 years from now with a new mindset, one of courage, faith, discipline, and possibility. Can you see the difference? Can you see the doors that would open, the opportunities you would create, the peace and joy you would feel? That future is not a fantasy. That future is possible. And the only thing standing between you and that future is mindset. So I say to you now, do not wait. Begin today. Begin with one thought. Begin with one word. Begin with one choice. And tomorrow, begin again. Because the power is not in one giant leap. The power is in the steps you take every day. And when the world looks at you and asks, "What changed?" you will smile and say, "My mind." 'Cause once you change your mindset, you change your life forever.